So awesome to have so many people, and we are off. It looks like my Terazo stream is just a little ahead of Problems, but let's get things started with a quick shield spell from Problems. So that's a very good racing item because you can basically YOLO through piles of enemies without any care in the world.
Especially good for the trapdoor rooms.
Absolutely, yeah. When you jump in those trapdoors, which are key, then you don't have to find the exit. You can just pop that shield spell and just mash through all the enemies, be it a dragon or a minotaur or what have you.
Terazo hasn't found anything, but is on to level 2 here.
So he's going with the just YOLO quick strats, which I actually really like. Don't bother looking around in the first couple levels because the beats are slower, so technically the time will be slower. So you want to kind of motor through them as best you can and maybe find an item on the way. And then, of course, you're guaranteed an item as long as you you flawless the final or the first boss. You can get yourself a nice weapon or something.
That is the hope.
Because even though, sorry, what's that?
Terazo's picked up a torch now, at least.
That's good. Torches are great for seeing through the walls, knowing if there's an say surprise minotaur on the other side of the wall about to mash your face. So yeah, it's good. Problems over there got himself the Ring of Regen a little while ago, and that is also a good weapon just for safety strats. Of course, when you're racing, sometimes you just gotta YOLO things, but of course the ability to heal is nice, especially if you find yourself a blood shop. Now he's in a bit of a sticky situation here. Sorry,
Terazo's picked up a Ring of Regen as well.
Oh, there you go, nice. Oh, now Problems is having a bit of problems here, but he managed to wrangle that dragon. Or Drangle, very well.
That's what we call it.
Yeah, portmanteaus are my favorite thing. And he
no.
Oh, and he got wrecked. He took a black skeleton to the face, trying to deal with a white monkey, which is a bad combination, the two of them. But quickly resets and quickly heads over to find an obsidian torch in his blood shop. Looks like we have some Dranglin on the other side as well.
That's right.
Terazo is... Those dragons, I mean, they have so much health. If there's a lot of enemies around, you gotta really think ahead.
Drangle them.
You gotta Drangle. And hope that you don't get horizontal from them, because, of course, the really scary attack is the laser that they fire, the laser of fire. Out the side. So, of course, as long as you're vertical of them, you're fine. Oh, nice double bomb strap there. From Terazo. Really nice.
Except the glass spear as well.
Good pickup. Yeah, the double bomb strats, if I'm not mistaken, were developed by Jack of Games, who will be my co-host once Dark Twinge has to head off for some food later. So that's pretty cool. And Problems is behind, but he's got himself a nice war drum and a blood dagger. Now the blood items, regardless of the weapon type.
Oh no!
What happened over there?
Dragon took out Terazo.
So Terazo came at the dragon from a horizontal spot, and of course got lasered pretty bad. Now, yeah, as I was saying, the blood weapons, after every 10 enemy kills, I believe it is 10, you get half a heart heal, which also is very useful for safety strats. But in racing, safety strats isn't necessarily what you want. Unless you are far ahead, and at this point nobody is really that far ahead. Problems is ahead, but only by a floor or two. Just one floor, so.
Except, sticking with the bright torch over to the Torch of Foresight there for Problems.
Well, it looks like he switched back, though. Doesn't want that Torch of Foresight. That's interesting. Now the oh, nope. Oh, maybe. I thought he deked me out there. I thought he was going for that torch. Now that torch tells you where all of the trapdoors and other things are, so I'm not sure why he didn't go with it. It is good for racing.
It seems worth the slight lack of vision there.
Yeah, but I guess Problems just wants the vision. Who knows? Now Problems admits that he's not exactly a racer in this game. He prefers the score, and that's for sure. He has a lot of the either world records or top 5s for all of the score categories. Problems is very good at score, and he actually was pushing for us to have some kind of score race in the future. And we're thinking about that. That'll be in the new year, though. Now, he just definitely got trolled by that red bat. That can happen in Conga. So going, as I was saying last week, you typically have a script for most boss fights. and going off script can lead to death. If you stay on script, you'll be fine. But occasionally those bats will troll you, and then it becomes a real issue. Now the racers are actually very close to one another. Just a quick conga fight for Terazo, and they're both going to be on the same floor.
After killing the Sin boss, even.
Yep. So that's actually good, getting your conga out of the way. Conga is definitely the longest boss fight. So it's something that we as commentators have to keep in mind, because if, say, they're both going to the 3-3 or Zone 3 boss, one has death metal, one has conga, the one with the death metal will likely win, unless he bathes in fire or something.
Indeed. Terazo picks up an obsidian broadsword here. See how that works out.
Yeah, and Problems has a titanium broadsword, so it's dueling broadswords here. I'd say
broadsword
both...
on broadsword action.
Some hot broadsword action right there. I would say that it's hard to say which is better, because of course the obsidian does more damage, but you can lose that damage if you do drop your multiplier. Problems...
Oh, my.
Oh, Problems just got assaulted by a white that was hanging out in the wall. He was in a really rough situation there. That clone was really giving him a hard time moving forward, and so he had to wait a while, and as he was waiting, he was getting progressively more swarmed. And unfortunately, it took him down there. So, big lead for Terazo again.
Yeah, if they just take it slow. No, I was about to say if they take it slow, but they got wrecked by a nightmare.
Oh, no,
Terazo. I
Terazo.
think what happened is they caught a mushroom they couldn't see because of the nightmare with the broadsword.
Oh, that's the worst. Yeah, I feel like back when I was first starting with this game, I got trolled constantly by having a broadsword and attacking things diagonally that I did not expect to attack. But of course, over time you get used to it, unless of course you can't see it because of the nightmare. Yeah. And I'm sure Ryan in chat is going to be, Ryan the game creator is going to be very happy that blindness effect from the nightmare got somebody killed.
Yeah.
Because Ryan likes to see his game elements work out. I know this from a lot of experience watching the things that Ryan says in chat. He also likes to see people effectively use daggers, so look out for that. Sorry, go ahead.
The most recent patch, you did buff the nightmare to make it a little harder to see the enemies in there, so that makes it a tougher boss now, which is nice.
That is true. He also, in case anyone's keeping up there, he also added the ability to bomb shrines, which is a really interesting thing, because it gives you a guaranteed weapon, but it is at the cost of a bomb, which is very valuable in racing.
Over on the other side here, tried to fight the trapdoor boss there and got caught in the corner with a bat and a ghost, I believe.
Those bats, they'll troll ya. Oh, and Problems is going for a classic glass weapon pickup from the Shrine of Sacrifice. So the Shrine of Sacrifice, the way it works is basically you kill 5 enemies next to it, and you'll get 3 items. But if you kill the mini-boss next to it, you get 3 glass weapons. So obviously for speedrunning and racing, that's very good, because glass is really good, because it, of course, does the most damage. But, as we were saying earlier, you take any damage while holding that glass weapon, and you will lose it. And it'll become just basically a simple dagger. A glass shard. Oh, the dragon wrangling again. Oh no, those dragons are trolling today, guys. If anyone's subbed to Balls of Steel, make sure to throw down your Balls of Steel drag, and you'll throw down the red dragon emote. One of the trolliest enemies in the game, one of the most requested for tutorials on how to beat, because they can really get you. And like proper dragon wrangling is really difficult. You can sort of have a set way to kill them, but you might require like 6 tiles in a row straight up.
Indeed.
But there are ways to scoot around them, but if you lose track of which beat they're on, they're going to stomp you. So yeah, dragons certainly are very trolly. All right, Terazo, don't get trolled by that bat. Oh no!
Oh no! He's still fine. Still fine.
So he got hit by the bat there. I think that's something that's going to be fixed in future updates. He kind of got hit by both enemies, but only took damage from the bat. And he had leather armor, so he only took half a heart, which is probably the best case scenario of where he was at right there.
Seems like it, yeah. picks up an Infernal Torch as well, so he'll have better sight of the level.
Now, it feels like every mini-boss is a dragon there. Problems just took down a red dragon. Oh, he got so trolled. He doesn't have a weapon. He's dropped down. What's he going to do? Oh, this is exciting, guys. As Dick would say, we got a runner. He does not...
He does have the Infernal Torch.
He has the Infernal Torch. He has 3 bombs. I'm very interested to see what happens. He found a titanium flail. Wow. What a find. That was amazing. I mean, he had a glass weapon. He got wind spelled across a trapdoor he was trying to drop into and got smashed on the same beat and then quickly dropped into the trapdoor. That was incredible. If he ends up winning this, I'm going to be very impressed for him. I always love a good run where you don't have a weapon for a little while and you manage to recover.
Well, I've never seen a run where someone lost their weapon, went on a different floor, and then picked it up again.
Yeah, that was amazing. I've had that happen a couple times to me, but it doesn't usually work out. Not as well as it has for Problems. And he upgrades his flail to the Obsidian Flail, which once you get to Zone 3, that's pretty useful, having that extra 3 damage, because those black skeletons need 3 damage to get to lose their shield. So it's very, very valuable.
Terazo gets their revenge on a nightmare, takes that out there.
There you go. And he's got the Torch of Foresight there, so he's able to see those traps in the dark, which is very useful for speedrunning. But he's got a motor, because Problems is already on 3-2. He's got a pretty decent build, and he's got his map. He's going into that food shop.
Hard to catch up.
He seems to be taking a bit of time, though. I mean, Terazu's he's on the last floor of Zone 2 there, before the boss fight, of course. So Problems has still got to keep his pace up a little bit. But, of course, you got to be really careful in Zone 3, because it is very easy to die in Zone 3. Very easy indeed.
Super easy to get overwhelmed.
Yep, and things like, I find one of the main ways people die are those goblins. Even people who are really familiar with this game, because they'll be chasing you, and if they're diagonal from you, if you move towards them at all, they will murder you. Yeah. And it's something that's easy to forget about.
I think you tend to think oh, I just don't need to worry about them, just need to run away because I need to go fast, and then suddenly they catch up behind you and you're cornered.
Now, we just saw, that was interesting, I've never seen that before, a Hellhound just jumped diagonally onto a bounce trap and moved off the bounce trap diagonally, which is scary, because if you think about it, every diagonal move is 2 moves in 1 beat, and if they do that on a bounce trap, it's 4 moves in 1 beat, so they can come to you pretty quick. So you gotta watch that. Those dogs, they move quick.
Problem taking 1 hit there, but still in pretty good shape.
Yeah, Problem seems to be doing just fine. Yeah, he got kind of trolled there with the, what are those called? White? Gassed? I think it's gassed. Okay, and he's on his final boss, so this could be the end of the first thing. I don't want to troll him here, but he's only got 1 more hit to take out Death Metal, and Death Metal is down. And that concludes the first race. Congratulations to Problems. What an exciting race. How'd you feel about that one, Twinge?
It's a great race.
Yeah, really good. And Terazo was not far behind. I mean, the door was wide open for them all to, for either of them to win that race, and it ended up being Problems. Alrighty, so I got to figure out this chat thing a little bit here with Skype. It's a different Skype than I was used to. Alright, we're just going to jump right back into the next one because we did have a bit of downtime at the start. So let me I need to remember to add the score. Feel free to remind me of that if I forget, Twinge. Okay, so Problems is winning 1-0. This is a best of 5. So the first 2, 3 is going to win this round and move on to the semifinals of this week. That's right, Wraith, White, Gassed. Thank you, Mendian.
I'm still never going to remember that.
Yeah, I think most people just call them all Wraiths. You thought that the bosses were in a set order?
Wraith.
Yeah, Zone 3 Wraith, exactly. Okay, they're starting. They're going now, so in about like 15 seconds, once Twitch catches up, we're gonna get this baby started. Hope you guys are having fun. I know I am. Fubzo calls them squids. That's true. Okay, we are off and running. We'll see if
Congrats.
Terazo can respond to that.
Rat saying they might have some first race of the day nerves on both sides, and I can definitely see that.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, you guys spectating don't realize sometimes how nerve-wracking this kind of thing can be. Some of these racers aren't even used to having really that many people watching them, and currently we've got over 300 people currently watching these racers, so that can really play an impact. I know Problems is, he's a pretty sizable streamer, so he's got that experience, but Terazo, I think he has 1 follower on Twitch, so we'll see. I know he, in Japan, there's another streaming service that a lot of the Japanese racers tend to use. I think it's called Nico or something like that. So who knows how big of a following he has on that. I meant to do some background research, and of course I did not.
Looks like he's got several followers right now, though, or people watching anyway.
That's excellent. Yeah, you guys should definitely head over there and give him a follow. I'm going to post his link in the chat there. Nico, that's what it's called. It's Nico twice. Okay, so Terazo does have a lot of Japanese watchers. Oh, a lot of watchers. Like 43 people watching?
Indeed. Oh, look at that room!
What just happened there?
He approached his boss room, and it was just filled with enemies, including piles of white monkeys and bats. Like, the Minotaur couldn't even get to him before he was already dead. That was rough.
Oh, wow. Yeah, wow, there is a ton of viewers. There's actually more viewers in his channel than there is here. Which, I mean, of course, they probably, most of them, speak only Japanese, so I don't blame them for not listening to us yammer on in some foreign language, so... That's awesome, though. That's cool. I'm glad to hear that there's other people watching, and it is really cool that that this game is taken off in Japan. I'm sure Ryan's very happy to hear that as well. Might be like a StarCraft situation, only in Japan instead of Korea. Soon we'll have stadiums filled with people racing this game in Japan. I'm sure of it.
It's absolutely esports.
Yeah. All right, so sorry guys, I wasn't paying as much attention to the race as I probably should be, but we got my beloved Lead Boots over on Problem's side. He also has a Ring of Charisma, a map, and a compass. So he's got really good mapping. I'm assuming he picked up a, what is that? Shrine of Darkness, and then switched his ring out for a Ring of Charisma. He also has a really strong shovel, the Obsidian Shovel. And he's going to use a quick bomb strats here on Deep Blues and move on. And it looks like our racers are neck and neck, and a blunderbuss pickup. Look out!
Oh my.
He goes with the blunderbuss. He's got the lead boots, which means there's no knockback on that blunderbuss. True. So that actually does make it a little more viable, because a lot of the deaths I see from blunderbussing, that should be a verb, is from that knockback. It'll knock you into enemies you don't expect.
Got a titanium whip on Terazo's side.
So,
not quite as exciting as the blunderbuss, but still a tricky weapon to use.
Yep, a couple of tricky weapons for our racers. I would say that probably the main thing that kills people on a high level, like these two racers here, is things not going the way you expect. So as you play this game, you start to learn expectations, and then you don't need to pay as much attention to every single little detail, and you can pay attention to the salient or important things. However, when you pick up something like a blunderbuss that you're not exactly used to, and you also have the lead boots, which is a combo you rarely see, it starts giving you expectations that you don't, are causing problems with things you don't expect. So
disappointed Problems didn't keep the blunderbuss. Looks like he found a glass cat.
Which is probably a wise choice, but I will agree with you. I'm also a little disappointed he didn't keep it.
Terazo's caught right back up with a bunch of trap doors here.
Yeah, it looks like they're neck and neck. I mean, a titanium whip is pretty good. It's actually quite good in Zone 3. Those whips have that extra added effect of being able to attack behind the shields. So we'll see if Terazo uses that. Terazo being just a little bit behind, but probably jumping into this trapdoor here.
Same boss again here.
Yep. Terazo handling the small trapdoor arena there. It looks like Problems is going to get out of this boss fight a little early and avoids even going for the chest, probably feeling a little pressure. I know that Problems has Terazo's stream up, paying close attention to where Terazo is. That's a very good idea when racing. And a little bit of a trolley situation with that Hellhound and that Yellow Knight, but handles it very well. The other neat thing about this game, which I tend to say and try to say every time I stream it, is that it is a turn-based game, if you think about it in a certain light, where, oh no, Problems picking up that titanium dagger and getting himself attacked where he would have been fine if he was still holding the cat. But as I was saying, it is turn-based in that every beat of the music, it forward or progresses at a turn. So you kind of want to optimize your movements every turn if you're racing. And so there is an optimal way of playing the game and an optimal way to play every seed. And so obviously the person who will optimize their running faster or better is going to win the race typically.
Indeed. Terazo, they're taking some damage with the hot coals. They couldn't avoid hitting a hot coal cauldron with their whip there, but they're still running.
Yeah, that is definitely one of the problems with the whip, is that you hit things you don't expect, as what we saw with the broadsword. But in this case, the whip, I mean, it attacks the 5 squares in front of you. And so in places where you should be moving because you're on hot coals or anything of that sort, you're going to end up doing some damage. Now, that was a YOLO teleport from Problems, and he is really running into some problems, so to speak, but handled it very well. But he is not through the storm yet. He is getting really assaulted here, but handling it extremely well. I am super impressed. That was really good. He's still not done. He has to make sure not to stand still on those hot coals, because those lead boots do not protect you from hot coals. Only Explorer's boots or floaty boots do that.
An interesting choice on Terazo's side is he got sick of that titanium whip and actually switched to a regular flail.
Interesting. I probably wouldn't do that, but I also get trolled by the flail all the time. And there is some serious pushing from both the racers here. It's really amazing. And it looks like Problems is the first to the boss fight. It is death metal, and it looks like he might be fine here. He does take out death metal, and that looks like that'll be that. A 7-12. Excellent race.
Very good.
That was really tight, like really close. I'm sure that Terazo is maybe, I mean, he got that flail, which is a little bit slow. But he's maybe about, a minute within finishing. So really close race. And another thing I always like to point out about Crypt of the Necrodancer racing is that they are more often than not very close races.
Yeah, that's been very, very common. Been kind of surprised just how close so many of the races have been.
Yeah, and I just got a fun fact for you guys. Apparently, Terazo has 67,000 followers on Nico Nico. So Terazo is a very, very... I think they're going again. So yeah, I'm going to just start the timer there. 67,000 followers. That's immense. That is a number I can't even really comprehend. I feel like if I saw a room filled with 67,000 of anything, I wouldn't have any clue. Whether it was 67,000 or a million or however much.
If there were 67,000 jelly beans in a jar, you'd probably guess it was only like 5,000.
Yeah, but it's not. 67, that's amazing. Really cool. That's awesome. So we have a bit of a Nico Nico celebrity here, and that's really cool. Righty. So this is a...
Problems died to a green dragon there.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, those green dragons, like I was saying, if you lose track of when their movement beat is, they can get you. They can stomp you when you think that you're going to be fine. And also the bats can really troll you, and where you start worrying about the bat, and it's sort of similar to like mitigating your, or that's the wrong word, but controlling your expectations. And bats can act sometimes unexpectedly. Just escaped from that monkey in time before getting stomped once again by the dragon. Oh, and apparently Nico Nico means smile, so there you go.
Interesting thing Terazo just did is they accidentally opened up a room full of black skeletons, but ended up getting one black skeleton stuck, so they were blocking the entire rest of the party, so they didn't flood the room and take a bunch of time having to deal with all of them.
That is an excellent strategy for sure. Yeah, you can send the headless skeleton back into the room to sort of plug the hole, so to speak. Of course, you can't do that with red bat rooms, so you really got to be careful with those red bat rooms if you open those up, because you are going to have red bats all up in your hair and all over your business. And I think it's kind of funny that the the game streaming service in Japan is called Smile, which is something you can do with your face, and the game streaming service here in North America, or around, I guess, the English-speaking world, is Twitch, which is also something you could do with your face, but maybe a bit more of a negative connotation than Smile.
I think that's a bit of a stretch, but that's okay.
Oh, come on. Do what I can. Trying to draw connections here.
Terazo's got the glass cat from the boss fight there, now picked up a compass from the shop.
Yeah, that's a pretty nice build. The glass cat can be a little tricky depending on how comfortable you are with it. I have found that I've gotten much more comfortable with it over time. So yeah, it doesn't end up being as much of an issue as it used to be, where it would do things I wouldn't expect. And Terazo is actually using a strategy that I like to use with the cat, which is just to wiggle back and forth. Don't actually actively attack anything, but only passively attack things, because you can move while attacking with the glass cat. It looks like we're a little off script here with Problems. He's certainly dropped his beat. I think he got whacked by an enemy in this Deep Blues fight. He is going to go with the bomb strat there, but will not be getting any items because he did drop the beat.
So still stuck in his basic dagger there.
Yeah, which is a bummer. But he does have the obsidian torch, which is a pretty nice torch. Of course, the radius of the torch is determined by your coin multiplier. And unfortunately, just finds a titanium dagger. He will pick it up. He did think it was worth the time. And the very much underrated Ring of Luck, which I find when I have it, any of the boss chests end up being awesome. So it's worth picking up if you plan on flawlessing enemies.
Yeah, any game with a luck effect, it's always really hard to quantify just how much that luck is actually doing for you.
Exactly. Until you do something like the guy who won last week, Rat, also one of our tournament organizers, he sometimes will play the game and just make notes of how many times things appear and try and actually quantify the probabilities of things, which is very useful for the community, of course. Mm-hmm. And things like Ring of Luck and how that's going to impact, which is really good.
Terazo's heavy metal fight down, swapped out their glass cat for a glass spear.
And Terazo's got a good motor going there, 3-1. So quite a few floors ahead of Problems. Problems finding the blunderbuss again, but opting to not go for it. Terazo with a bit of a sticky situation there, and mashed.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one to do. When you YOLO those trapdoors, you might wind up with the blue dragon, and there's a lot in Zone 3, those trapdoors, there's a lot of places you can't stand because you're going to have those elementals just dropping the ice, dropping the fire, so you're not allowed to stand where the ice is, and you can't stay put on the fire because you're going to take damage. And then, of course, the entire cone that the dragon breathes out, you can't stand there either. So you got nowhere to stand.
I think they were just one turn late on using that shield. So they lost their glass weapon and couldn't recover it in time.
Oh, is that what happened? Ouch. That's rough, and of course, death means restart back to square one, which puts Terazo on the chopping block here. Problems just needs to finish out this run, but he is moving on to Zone 3, which I would argue is the place most people die. And he finds only a titanium whip and decides to go with it. But he does have the shield spell.
People tend to die either really early on because they're just trying to go really fast through the first sections, or in Zone 3.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, that's precisely right. And it really seems like Zone 2 deaths are rare. Wonder why that is. I think it might be because they're so easy to navigate, right? Like a lot of people are really pro at this game. They sort of it becomes very easy to sort of find your way in Zone 2. And so maybe just by the fact that there's less time spent in Zone 2 means there's less deaths in it.
That would make sense.
No. And Problems is off to his 3-2, getting a bit of a swarm here, but wisely uses his shield spell and handles it just no problem. And he's got
That's something I still have a lot of trouble with in this game, is remembering to actually use my active items like that.
Absolutely, yeah. That's something that really, really hurts a lot when you die in a run and then you're like, oh man, I had that freeze spell, I could have used it. And I know during the Balls of Steel when I was racing, that happened to me a bunch, where I'd look back on the VOD and see that I just totally could have saved it easily if I just remembered I had a spell.
And that's a cool thing you see. I mean, that's really common in other, like, more traditional roguelikes. Oh, I had that scroll of blinking or whatever that I could have used to save me, but you get the same kind of feeling in this game, which is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this game certainly does reflect a lot of traditional roguelikes, which is pretty cool. I mean, it is certainly in the style of roguelikes. Lead boot pickup from Problems. But he did decide not to go to that 1 damage longsword, which is a little easier to use than the titanium whip. Decided to stay with the whip, which is probably a good thing, because as you can see, he really cleaned up that room. That would have been a lot harder to deal with if he had the 1 damage titanium, or 1 damage longsword. And he's on his Zone 3 boss, which is Conga. Conga with the whip can be a little trolly sometimes, so we'll see how he handles it. Yeah, he's got the goblins coming.
Zooming to try to catch up. They're on their Zone 2 boss. I don't think it's going to be nearly close enough unless Problems makes a mistake here, but...
Problems handled that fight extremely well considering, because that is a tough fight, and it looks like Problems is going to take this 3-0 with an 825.